Hello everyone and welcome to the Ticker.com's news channel on YouTube. On this channel, we review stock markets and discuss financial news, market trends, and economic data from Wall Street to Global Street. So let's dive in. We will begin our review of the global economy with key releases in the US, Europe, China, Japan, and India. In thin trading on stock markets, market indices in the US edged lower, advanced in Europe and Asia, and investors grew more confident about the prospect of lower interest rates in 2024. There were few economic releases in the week, shortened by holidays across the globe. Pending home sales in the U.S. were unchanged in November from the previous month, indicating lack of availability of affordable homes. In Europe, inflation indices in Spain declined and home prices edged slightly lower from record high levels in the UK in November. In Asia, Japan's housing starts declined, jobless rate held steady in November from the previous month, but industrial output fell and retail sales rose in the month. China's industrial profit declined 4.4% in the first 11 months to November. India's current account deficit fell sharply in the September quarter after imports shrank amid steady foreign investment flows. Let us review key events in global bond and commodities market last week. The yield on the 10-year U.S. Treasury traded near a 5-month low of 3.9% after hitting a 16-year high of 5% in October as expectations of lower interest rates intensified. Gold traded around $2,070 and advanced 13% in 2023 on the expectations that the Federal Reserve will soon pivot to lowering interest rates in 2024. The West Texas Intermediate crude oil prices traded near $72 and dropped 10% in 2023 on the worries of rising U.S. supply in global markets amid weak demand growth from China. The natural gas prices in Europe decreased to 32 euros per megawatt hour, a decline of 57% in 2023, after rising 8.5% in 2022, due to stable demand and elevated storage in the region, despite worries of supply disruptions amid rising tensions in the Middle East. The euro hovered at $1.10, the level last seen in July, and gained about 3.3% in 2023 against the US dollar on the rising prospects of interest rate cuts in the US. The yen traded at 144 against the US dollar, a 5-month high, and closed up 8% in 2023 as the Bank of Japan's refusal to unwind its ultra-loose monetary policy weighed on the currency. We now review developments in financial markets and how markets were impacted by the latest economic data. The S&P 500 index and the Nasdaq Composite halted the 8-week rally but advanced 24% and 44% in 2023, respectively, after a surge in mega-cap tech stocks powered a broader market advance. European markets extended their gains in 2023, and the DAX index advanced 19% and the CAC 40 index rose 15% on the hopes of rate cuts in early 2024. The Nikkei 225 average advanced for the 4th week in a row and closed up 30% in 2023 after the Bank of Japan reiterated its commitment to ultra-loose monetary policy despite the rise in inflation in recent months. China market indices rebounded in the final week of trading, but the indices in Shanghai declined for the 3rd year in a row and in Hong Kong dropped for the 4th consecutive year. India market indices resumed their advance in the final week of trading and jumped 18% in 2023 after investor enthusiasm was supported by economic growth momentum and decelerating inflation. We now review the latest merger deals and corporate news, and several technology, industrial, and healthcare companies were in focus. Intel, the advanced semiconductor chipmaker, received $3.2 billion from the Israeli government to build a $25 billion plant in southern Israel. Raised Bio doubled after Bristol Myers Squibb said it agreed to acquire the radiopharmaceutical therapeutics company for $62.50 a share, or $4.1 billion. Gracell Biotechnology soared 60% after AstraZeneca said it would acquire the China-based cell therapy company for $10 per share, or $1.2 billion. Manchester United was in focus after the UK-based investor Jim Ratcliffe finalized his agreement to acquire a 25% stake in the football club for $32 a share. The New York Times sued Microsoft and the parent company of ChatGPT operator OpenAI for infringing on its copyright in using its intellectual property without its permission. Ascent Industries said it agreed to sell its carbon steel pipe and tubing business and use some of the proceeds to pay down debt. Apple won temporary relief from the U.S. government ban on the sale of some Apple Watch models. General Motors sued the San Francisco government to recover $108 million paid over the last 7 years, despite having no presence or employees in the city. Fisker said vehicles deliveries soared 300% to 4,700 in the fourth quarter from the previous quarter on the rise in demand for its electric SUVs. Alphabet's Google agreed to settle a $5 billion lawsuit sought by customers alleging that the search engine secretly tracked users browsing in private mode. Looking ahead to the next week, economic news is expected to keep investors busy at the start of the new year. In the U.S., investors are awaiting the release of the FOMC meeting minutes, non-farm payroll report, and JOLT report, which provides insights into labor market conditions. In Europe, inflation reports from the Eurozone, Germany, France, the Netherlands, Poland, Italy, and Russia are also likely to get investors' attention. Germany is also set to release a retail sales report and a preliminary estimate of the jobless rate. In Asia, India is set to release its economic growth data, and China is scheduled to release updates on manufacturing sector growth measures. You can read daily U.S. and global financial markets news, earnings calendars, stock movers, and economic updates on ticker.com and 123jump.com. You can also get the latest financial books on Rodera.com and keep up with financial industry events on eventsinamerica.com. That is all for today, and we will see you next